Did somebody say WeeaBoots? Because I think I just heard someone say WeeaBoots.
Fuck.
Hello and welcome to WeeaBoots, the anime review podcast from Gigaboots.com. I'm Dan, Video Games, and with me is Bob.
Hey guys.
From Gigaboots.com. And Hail Zeon.
I'm here, unfortunately.
From Hail Zeon.
Yes, the YouTube channel.
On YouTube.
Yes.
No.com?
No.com is, as it turns out, fucking mistake.
Yeah. Horrible idea. It cost me money and it was dumb.
Yeah, we let our .com do whatever until one of our executive producers went, dude, do you just want me to make you a new one in a weekend? Sure. And here we are, Gigaboots.com. In any case, welcome. Welcome back to WeeaBoots. Welcome.
So,
You guys remember last week's episode, right?
Yeah, last week's episode was pretty good. I think we're going to top this week by existing.
whoa.
So what did we come back to cover, you guys? What caused the resurrection of WeeaBoots?
I would hope it's something really good. You know, like something new from this season, something that's really hyped, that's got the people talking.
No.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
fucking
no.
Ghost in a Shell movie.
Well, it could have been Dragon Ball Super, so, you know.
Now, I know this will surprise you, given my name's Dan Video Games, but I did not watch the original Ghost in the Shell movie until recently. I did watch The Matrix, though.
How did you go so long? Like, knowing all of us, you have gone this long without this. Bob and I watched Ghost in the Shell, like 5 years ago when that
Something
shitty
like that.
friggin' Blu-ray came out? And you just completely missed that. Like, I don't know how you've gone this
There was a
far.
period of a few years I was lost in a mad forest.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then past that,
We might have warned him not to watch that version we watched.
you did. You absolutely did that.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Also, I have Project Echo. So anytime I want to watch retro anime, I'm always like, we should watch Project Echo.
True. I mean, Project Echo is fucking amazing. If you haven't seen it, you're a bad person.
In fact, we have an episode where we reviewed that. You should go look it up. WeeaBoots, Project Echo.
Do it. Big.
Spoilers, we recommend it.
Yeah.
Well, review right there. You don't even need to go watch the other episode, but they should.
But they should, because we make funny jokes and fun times are had. That's
You
what
make
this...
jokes?
No, not general. We're very dry and serious here.
Yes.
Speaking of which, before we talk about anime, I figured this format should follow the format of our other podcast we update weekly, the Gigaboots podcast. And I should just talk about what I've been playing lately. So, Bob, you've been playing Persona 5, right?
I guess that's close enough to an anime.
Pretty
sure.
anime. How's Persona 5 going?
That seems pretty cool.
Oh, cool. How many hours in are you?
17, apparently.
You lost track, didn't you? Is that all you've been doing today?
No, I actually had other stuff to do today, but I didn't really sleep much last night.
Oh, okay. Smart. Good life decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hey, Hail Zeon.
Hey, Dan.
Other than ceaselessly reviewing Dragon Ball, as we last left Hail Zeon, he was left in a pit of reviewing Dragon Ball Super. We now catch up to see what he's doing.
I pulled myself out of that ditch and I told him, hey, I'm not going to review Dragon Ball Super anymore. And I lost like 50-something subs. It was totally worth it.
Yeah. Man,
yeah.
there's this YouTube video. It's pretty good. It just excises the end of an episode of Dragon Ball, I believe it was. And it was like, what was it? Bob watched it with me. And it was like, they're not going to see me coming. And it was Yamcha. And then immediately the narrator kicks in and he's like, they don't see Yamcha coming.
It looks like we won't be seeing the last of Yamcha.
They won't be seeing the last of Yamcha. It was just really good how they had him say it. And then the narrator restates it back to back.
I don't know. That
I
might
love
be the original audio from that episode. I remember it being really dumb.
The dub is
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
fucyou bad, regardless of what people want to think.
I thought it was classic.
Yeah, no, you're wrong.
I thought it was Vlasic.
Did you say flaccid?
Vlasic.
Somewhere between the pickle brand
Oh.
and the state of dick.
Oh, okay.
So if you can imagine a limp pickle
Okay.
in your mouth right now, just being all juicy and wiggly. But yeah, so that way we were fully versed on movie Ghost in the Shells. We watched one and Innocence
Yes.
right before this.
Well, sort of right before.
I mean, it was in a week. That's right before.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably closer than most people were whenever.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, most people probably. I mean, I doubt they scheduled a day where they're like, we're going to watch these two, and then we're going to go to the theater, and then I'm going to be better than everyone on WeeaBoots.
Most people probably, watch Ghost in the Shell original movie every day. So
Most, yeah.
it's going to be hard to top that.
I know I have it on my phone. And yet that was the first time I watched it. Weird. It's almost like I'm a fake-ass internet celebrity who does things for street cred.
So yeah, the Ghost in the Shell movie.
One moment, I need to talk about my anime collection. Bob, you ordered Excel Saga.
Okay, true.
I'm buying it from you.
Right.
Now Dan has an anime collection.
Yes!
Of one box set.
Hey, I also own Narima Daikon, I think.
And you own Case Closed.
And I own all of the U.S. case closed.
Yes.
I'm what you call a connoisseur.
A professional anime connoisseur.
Dan, you
Yes.
can also own Lost Universe.
Oh.
You could.
How much? I know you don't want to sell it to me because what you really want to do is throw it in a trash compactor.
Right.
That way you don't have to watch it ever again. Because I keep pulling people in, being like, no, watch it. Watch it. Watch it, Jay. Watch it, James. Watch it, other James.
You're a bad man.
No, this shit's hilarious.
Like I bought that on super discount and I felt ripped off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way that happened for everyone, I assume.
Just like
Even people back in the day.
I just don't know how the hell you go
No one
like
bought that back in the day. Don't even kid yourself.
I just don't know how you go like look, it's like Slayers in space. Awesome. Why is this garbage?
Well, see, it's enough like Slayers in space that you just don't even notice it's garbage because you're a fucking weeb. And welcome to WeeaBoots.
Yep.
So, Scarlett Johansson, whitewashing, am I right?
Right? Those fucking racist ass bigots oppressing
know.
the yellow minority
I know.
and just pasting their white faces all over their
know.
superior Asian faces.
I know. It has nothing to do with the fact that the casting pool would be about a 20th of the size if they went with an Asian actor, let alone Japanese actor.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
to the Japanese/Chinese, it wouldn't be any better to just pull a random Asian.
Right.
You have to pull Japanese,
No, it's
otherwise
Lucy
you're
Liu.
half-assing
Well, no. See, Dad. See, thing is though,
What if Major was fucking 45?
right.
well, see, thing is though,
Go on.
something that I have learned throughout this entire thing is it doesn't matter if they're Japanese. It's just
Oh, it
that
just
they are
matters
Asian.
that they're not white.
Specifically
and they're
that they-
vaguely.
Yeah, that they are Asian, but not like Asian like I am. Like I'm Indian. That's not the right kind of Asian.
Oh, no.
So you have to have like that Oriental background.
So that's what they really want. They wanted the O word.
Yes.
Orientals.
Yeah.
But they can't say that word anymore because it's racist.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, you can't say like, oh well, sorry, you don't have the chinky slant eyes. No, because that makes them the racist. But but they can just go, no, you're the wrong kind of Asian, and then it's just like, well, what do you mean the wrong kind? And they go, racism.
So yeah, the movie.
Well, should we talk about the other movies first, or
Should we?
I don't know.
We can talk about that briefly.
Okay, the original's a goddamn masterpiece. I don't think anyone's gonna argue that.
But we can discuss. Since it was my first ride through, I have the
Yeah.
freshest set of eyes on it.
Yeah.
The only thing that stands out as bad in that whole movie is when the camera went front face on with Motoko and just slowly zooms in as she basically says how she feels, and the robot devil yells about it in my head. Yeah. But like I was okay with that because there was a certain sincerity of the up your own ass philosophy in the first one. Mm-hmm. That wasn't too pompous or pretentious or really up its own ass.
Yeah.
Like, it was about philosophy without being obnoxiously about it, though a lot of it was just dialogue, which is something this remake isn't at all.
Yeah.
Like, there are no scenes, really, of people in a car prolongedly expressing things about the nature of the robotics or the computerization of themselves.
Yeah, not at all.
It's pretty brief.
Right.
So, does anyone else want to make any comments on 1 before we move on to 2?
I mean, I had the same problem with 1. Honestly, I've never been as huge a fan of that movie as a lot of people have.
Well, imagine blew your fucking mind.
I mean, I do think it's an amazing like animation piece. Like that, just everything they do there is really, really good as far as animation goes, and I think that it does a lot of neat things. But yeah, when the philosophy literally is just head-on shot, and they're going to say their philosophy to the camera.
Yeah,
the movie I feel does it about twice. It's not terrible,
right?
It definitely brings the movie down, I feel.
What I like about it is it's not thematic or about philosophy counter to the fact it's a character piece. Like, it's a character study. Like, I like that it's a small grounded story about this one person dealing with that. It's not like this huge movie about a ton of characters, none of which seem to be overly developed. Like, it seems to stick with the idea of one person going through this and understanding this, and it has that logical conclusion as that logical thematic conclusion as the literal conclusion of the movie, like the idea of the evolution. I think it did a pretty good job of juggling all that.
Yeah. For me, it is one of my favorite films of all time. And as far as anime films go, it is my favorite anime film.
Okay.
It has been my favorite for years, and every time I go back to it, I was kind of reassured, okay, yeah, this is like my favorite.
Yeah,
okay.
it's good to check that. Just to restate it, no connection at all. You run a DBZ YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
No implications. Just bring that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so...
Just because it's my favorite doesn't mean it's good. For example, I like gas station yogurt.
But yeah, so...
Dan Reichert, game critic, likes gas station sushi.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently in the flyover states they have gas station sushi.
That sounds like a horrible idea. Like gas station sandwiches have made me violently ill in the past.
Me too.
I can only imagine what
Sushi,
the sushi
yeah.
would do. But yeah, like I said, the original film, it is my absolute favorite anime film. Like, there's been a couple, like the Hosoda films have come close, but just, like, and I guess a little bit of it is still nostalgia, because, like, that was, like, the first movie I ever saw, like, where, like, the philosophies in it, like, the whole existentialism of the film's messaging kind of, like, blew my mind, and then, like, that whole thing of, like, you know, that whole... man-human, or like the man-machine elements of like how far into cyberization before you stop being human, and you know where do you draw that line, and like it's something that you never really think about as a teenager, and then like you know, like that movie dropped in my lap at 16, and I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, the funny thing is how much The Matrix was like, we're gonna be that but a live-action Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
But then the philosophy and the things in The Matrix are nowhere near as effective or deep.
Yeah.
And it really hinges on the stupid element that is, well, if you die in the Matrix, your brain will make you hemorrhage blood. And I'm like, eh?
Like, I mean, like
that...
The Matrix is still a really great movie.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's as good as Ghost in the Shell. That's...
it would be hard to find someone who did.
I'm pretty sure most people...
Bob, are
yeah,
you
I
that
don't- I don't
can
know.
you be that hero?
I haven't seen the original Matrix in a while. I'm not gonna jump on that.
Right over there.
I do really. We can't solve it right now, Dan.
We could just play it while doing this.
There's some really cool things in the Matrix, but it is honestly like I feel like it'd be more superficial to say that's a better movie. Like like the action sequences and things like that are more exciting.
I mean, it's more iconic in terms of its action sequences, but I feel like in terms of its cinematography, it's just Oshii's, like, his camera placement, his, like, how he pans shots, frame shots, just paces them out. Like, you know, just the atmosphere that he brings into the original Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, the original Ghost in the Shell is really good at that, but I don't know, I'm starting to think Bob's probably right on this. The cinematography in The Matrix may be slightly better. Not like massively like, oh, the Ghost in the Shell looks like shit. No, like like you can tell the cinematographer's good, because keep in mind that came from the era of movies where they cared.
Yeah,
where they didn't shoot everything wide in 6K and digitally crop. You know what I fucking love about Mad Max? Mad Max, they film it The new one.
The Fury Road.
Yeah, Fury Road. They film it. They stabilize it in post. And then they digitally add shake. I'm not even kidding. They did that for every shot in the movie. The director had to look at multiple different algorithms, or I guess you would call it that. You could just really call it pathways for what shake he wanted the film to have.
Jesus.
I know. New Hollywood, man.
Okay, so
because they needed the stable lockdown shots to match all the shoulder cam stuff to give it that frantic action, so he wanted it to be consistent shot to shot to shot.
Can I just say that film is a master fucking piece,
I mean,
especially
you can.
cinematography.
You wouldn't really be one of the first people saying it,
Right.
but yes, no. Mad Max Fury Road, fucking great.
Yeah, like
Probably the best Ghost in the Shell movie. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I just gonna say like no. I just want to like just to derail this for a moment, just to say because it pisses me off when I hear people go, "Oh, that movie's so dumb" or whatever. It's like no, shut the fuck up. You don't understand what smart filmmaking is. Smart filmmaking isn't being up your own ass and just throwing platitudes and fucking philosophies at you and fucking like techno babble and like bullshit, whatever.
Yeah,
like a smart movie is one that's well crafted, one that's thematically consistent, one that
has decent characters, like at all.
Yeah,
like not
Dredd.
in.
Like Dredd is another fucking example.
Dredd's a fucking masterpiece too.
And it pisses me off when people just like they look at these movies with these kind of simple concepts that are really over the top and completely write them off as dumb trash. And these people can go fuck themselves.
Good point. Movies don't need to. They just need to expertly execute with good characters, good composition, good flow. Not be distended in parts, and they don't have to sit there and be up their own ass and espouse platitudes constantly about various philosophies that they read in a book. So, moving on to Ghost in the Shell.
Innocence. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Good transition. Ghost in the Shell Innocence is bad.
That's honestly probably one of the worst anime films I've watched, other than Shonen Jump. Other than Shonen Jump anime, that doesn't count. Those are so bad in the pit. You can't even compare them to other films.
Bob just once he starts thinking about Shonen Jump anime movies, he starts going Alex Jones over. He's like, "It's not fair. What they're doing to anime, they're ruining it. They're filling it with garbage and getting in your brain."
Miyazaki was right. Anime was a mistake.
I keep thinking about Miyazaki. And he's fucking, like, I was doing this today even. This is how frequently I think about it. His whole, like, I don't really like to think of what I make as anime. And I'm like...
Well, tough shit.
Everyone, like, there are some people who respect his statement. Like, there's some people on the internet who are like, yeah, I get it. I'm like, no, you don't fucking get it. You're just a fucking fanboy shithead. Imagine if any game developer, like Kojima, came up to you and he went, well, I don't really like to think of it as making video games.
It's something else. It's on a higher level.
It's on a higher level. I've transcended above these mere mortals. Neil Druckmann can suck my Druckmann.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm going to say right now, I don't think Miyazaki's that great. He's good. I really do feel like he's kind of overblown and overstated as, like, this genius.
I mean, I can sign up for that. Like, everything he does is visually brilliant, and most of his, like, I would say it's about 70% of his movies are, like, 9 or 10 out of 10. And then 30, like the ones people tend to be like, that's not, you should go watch the good one.
Right? If you got that one, maybe don't.
Like, oh yeah, I watched Miyazaki. I watched Name's movie. And they're like, did you watch Mononoke? I was 13 in a movie theater when I saw Mononoke.
Yeah.
Miyazaki's a fucking genius.
Yeah, like, I would say Mononoke, like, that film is so impressive on a technical level. Mm-hmm. It is so fucking just up its own ass with its like nature good, people bad, blah blah. It's like, oh my god,
it's a movie. Those fuckers.
Yeah, I really hate
it. Didn't
that.
even get Tim Curry. I don't know how they can do it.
I don't.
Right, Ferngully 1, Mononoke 0. Let's be honest here, people.
Ferngully 1, Avatar 0.
Well, Avatar's always a 0. Let's be fucking real here.
Hey.
That one didn't even have, like, Robin Williams as a talking fruit bat.
No,
and now he's dead, so now they never can.
But
they lost that opportunity.
It did have blue people. So it was like the genie was in it. From Aladdin.
Great.
So yeah, Ghost in the Shell Innocence. The reason why it's bad, I'll just go through my opinions real quick. I don't feel like the way it deals with the themes are as earnest as the first one. It feels more like a person had a collection of things they wanted to bring up in a movie. They don't seem to tie into each other super well, and it just seems like a bunch of philosophy stuff, like almost like a philosophy 101 class, or the next tier of that, where they're just like, hey, let's talk about Descartes randomly in this car. It doesn't terribly tie into what we're talking about now. There's that line about the mirror, like, best not to stare too long into mirrors.
Yeah,
It's
I feel
like-
like they come back to that line a couple times, I believe.
I know. That makes it so woke.
Right.
Yeah.
Get so into it if they do it multiple times.
Yeah.
I am
He
very
wasn't sure you got it the first time.
yeah, I
What's
am
up?
very mixed on Innocence because I like a lot of
Okay, real quick. Let me just finish
Okay.
so I can make sure I get all my points out. I feel like a lot of it is super dialogue in car. Like, there are at least 3 long dialogue in a car scenes, and none of them really have an interesting human machine evolution element. Like, first movie, slight spoilers. First movie, it's like, you and me need to fuse so that way we can form the future evolution of humanity and be birthed into the network to transcend our corporeal forms and become something more.
yeah.
Second movie, this dumbass made himself into a doll. Thanks, Bato. Deep. I laughed, to be fair. I thought that was fucking hilarious that Bato said that, especially in movies so far up its own ass. But yeah, I feel in the artistry, it really isn't as top notch as it was in the first one, because there's a lot more CG, and the 2D animation to me doesn't look as interesting and super realism as the first one. Just something about its style is off enough and different enough where, yeah, it doesn't work for me. So yeah, I wouldn't even put this, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone, basically, unless they just need to see all of Ghost in the Shell, which, no shit, I'm going to recommend one of the Ghost in the Shell movies to somebody who's going to watch all of it. We need to watch some Standalone Complex and
Most definitely.
do
like,
an
I mean,
episode on that sometime.
Because I mean, I have a Hulu account; it's all on there, so
Cool.
so we can do that anytime. And I have like the ad-free version, so we don't just need the bullshit ads.
Hooray!
Amazing.
Speaking
Yeah.
of which, you saw that anime Kiss thing I retweeted, or Kiss anime.
Yes. Oh, fuck them. Fuck
Wait,
them
what
right
was
the
it? I
hell.
didn't see
Okay,
it.
so if you try to use ad block,
Oh, yeah.
they're like, hey, you know, you can skip the ads if you get the premium version.
But you guys steal.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Right. A fucking website that is
Stealing
about
the anime and fucking content creators is like, hey, you shouldn't fuck us.
Like, yeah, like
Screw
like,
them.
yeah. right?
It's like if John Wick was like, you shot me. Why would you do that? Because you're criminals.
Yeah. Fuck anime Kiss or Kiss anime right the hell.
Yeah, no,
Fuck
that was
them.
unapologetically terrible. Yeah. But hey, Jay, what's your opinion on
Okay.
Ghost in the Shell and Innocence? And then me and Bob will bookend this.
I feel it has a lot of artistic merits to it. Unlike you, I do like a lot of the visuals. The CG isn't as distracting for me as it is for you. I think a lot of it blended fairly well. I like a lot of the CG environments. I like how they use them for like.
You may hear me walking away. I'm grabbing a water.
Oh, okay.
Does anyone want some?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you. Continue.
Oh shit. All right. Well, I put my water over there. Well, fuck it. Anyhow. So yeah. I like the use of CG environments, like, you know, just because it allowed them to get some really cool looking shots and panning shots of, like, you know, characters walking and the camera moving with them. I liked the 2D animation, and there's a lot of elements to the movie I did like. Like, I feel like it is too long, and I feel like at some point I just need to, like, sit down with like a notepad and just take notes on every little visual element, and because I feel like Oshii, like, he has something to say, but he's saying it in the most complex go fuck yourself way. Like, he really wants to challenge his goddamn viewers, where with the original fucking Ghost in the Shell, yeah, like, you know, Bob brings up, like, well, they just tell it straight to you. But, you know, with this one, it's a whole bunch of fucking philosophical quotes, and you can't really stitch them together very well. It's like, what the hell are you trying to tell me, movie?
I would compare the Ghost in the Shell Innocence method of philosophy to the Matrix method of philosophy, in that there isn't a terribly huge overarching theme, and none of the ideas interconnect very well. But the difference is, you know, the Matrix focused on action. This one's focusing on the philosophy. Now, there's always this problem with people who might be incredibly brilliant, where you're like, now I think what he said was fucking stupid, but maybe I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I give a lot of people rope with that most of the time. Like, I give people tons of rope. In fact, it takes me quite a while to be sure that someone is an idiot. But once I arrive at that station...
Yeah.
But yeah, in any case, because there are different types of being smart.
Right.
Right.
We're all different on the spectrum.
What's spectrum, Jay?
The intelligence spectrum, Dan. What the hell were you thinking, you fucking idiot?
No, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay, good.
Definitely.
Good, we're all on the same spectrum then.
Halcyon would never make an autism joke. Bob, what were your thoughts on Ghost in the Shell Innocence?
It's really bad. I mean, Dan went over the visuals. Every thing kind of looks muddy. It almost looks like it was a lot of the CG was put or made in a very low res or something.
I need to pause your review to review this bottle.
That bottle is terrible. Grocer's brand water should not be trusted.
Grocer's brand water. It comes in a 24-pack. The bottom is never good enough to sit flat on something,
What fucking garbage? Was it produced by Toei?
Probably.
They had to really crunch. Don't worry, the home release will be much better.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But I have this version at my home.
That is the home release. I don't even want to see the broadcast water.
It's just a turd.
I was thinking it was a water bottle with holes everywhere, so it just sprays water out from all sides.
And it expends all of the water and force pretty quickly, so that it's just half full of water, and it's disappointing even.
Yeah, it's great.
But what were you were
yeah, the visuals
muddy,
really bad. There's it hurts to look at a lot of the time. It's super hard to look at. A lot of scenes when they go for a darker look, everything kind of just looks really grainy and bad.
They also add a digital grain to things.
Yeah. There's an artificial grain added to it,
which is weird because it looks less like a film grain and looks more like digital sensor noise.
Yeah,
maybe that spends a lot of time looking at the difference in these things.
That could be voluntary. I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to be saying something in that, but I doubt it.
Yeah, honestly, it does look like there was something that was added intentionally.
We'll only really know with that 55-inch OLED TV.
But almost every line of dialogue feels like it's a quote. Like, it's not them actually talking to each other.
They're talking past each other or at each other.
Right. They want to quote something, and the characters being there are just a way to do that.
It was a lot like hanging out with Aggro in high school, where he was just quoting a bunch of shit that I didn't know.
Yeah,
and then I would figure out what it was, and I'm like, he's such an asshole.
And luckily, he hasn't been a video for a while. I just haven't been able to punch him recently.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand why you guys don't like it. I can understand why a lot of people wouldn't like it, and I don't openly just recommend it. Like, seriously, you have to have a lot of patience, and if you don't like the visuals, then just drop it immediately, because they're not going to change throughout the movie.
Yeah, also, it's really long. Like, the original Ghost in the Shell is a very, lean 80 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's like an 85-minute thing. It's so fucking tightly compacted. I love that. I love just... that movie doesn't waste your time at all.
Yeah, it's nice.
And then this one's like
110, so an hour and 50.
It's something like that. It feels really long, and a lot of the sequences are just, they feel drawn out and like they don't even need to be there.
One of my favorite sequences was right at the beginning when they're talking to the person doing the deconstruction of the geisha robot. That and the conclusion of the movie, the fucked up final plot point.
Yeah.
Like that. If we could just get from one of those to the other faster.
I mean, honestly, I still love the repetition with that one dude's house, and it's just...
the sequence near the end involving the dumbass.
Yeah, like that was... Because, I mean, like...
Yeah, that was definitely the best part of the movie.
Yeah. Like, I also kind of like the fight with the crab claw guy, and when he hacks those fucking Yakuza's eyes. And I mean, like, there are some really great little sequences. It's just, you need to get there fast.
It's like, basically, it's like
platitudes out.
It feels like it's a episode of Standalone Complex that's been extended to a whole hour and a half, but it was only really a 24-minute episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I feel like reflecting on this, I could do an edit that was under half an hour, and it would be pretty nice. Though, you would just be cutting entire dialogues out, which
Honestly, I think we should totally do that fan edit. See if it makes.
We should do competing fan edits.
Yes.
They will come up radically different.
I know.
Or you'll start doing yours, realize how similar it is to mine, and then it's all footage of beagles. This beagle shot is good. We're keeping it. Oh, he's saying things around it. I'll just remove that.
But yeah,
the next 10 minutes of this movie are zoomed in a digital zoom of this beagle still frame.
So yeah, the original Ghost in the Shell masterpiece. The sequel, not.
Yeah, I think everyone
Definably
agrees.
not.
Yeah,
Not.
no. You know, and so
Now let's talk about Arise.
Wait.
We didn't watch Arise.
nope.
Now let's talk about the
I
new...
watched Arise.
No, you didn't. Shut the fuck up, Bob.
Okay, Bob, tell us about Arise.
I'd rather not.
Okay, well then let's move on to the Hollywood movie.
Okay, so
Bob, who directed this?
That guy who directed, what was it?
Snow White.
Snow White,
and the
yeah.
Huntsman.
In some commercials or something.
Oh, you didn't write his name down. Okay.
Yeah.
What animation studio made this?
DreamWorks.
There we go.
There you go. What?
I'm on to you.
What? You asked the question, I answered it. Fuck you. It actually is produced by DreamWorks. Unless they change production studios at some point.
Do you have any idea who wrote this?
No clue.
No.
Probably like 30 people.
It actually was 3.
Okay.
Like, I was really surprised because, spoilers for some of my review, I felt like the movie was multiple rewrites of the film kind of combined into this weird end product. And I was like, yeah, I feel like there are 3 rewrites of this movie in here that have just sort of been combined into this weird film that couldn't decide what it was about. And then I looked it up later and it was like, oh, it had 3 writers. Yes. I knew it.
So yeah, this movie was a movie. It had scenes.
Yeah.
It was
I feel like it was surprisingly...
competent.
Yeah, competent. Like,
Yeah, see, that is the highest praise I can give this movie. Is it was competent. It was like it's not.
It's below effective,
Yes.
but above subpar.
Yes.
Yeah. It is the par movie of the year.
Yeah, it is.
It is a sequence of events that makes perfect sense in a row.
Yes.
Which is more than I can say for a lot of movies recently.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I understood every character's motivation in this movie, and characters had motivations.
And some of them were even cool. Like the replacement for the head of Section 9.
Yeah.
Aramaki.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
his movie version was...
Oh my god, can I just say, like, that might be my favorite version of Aramaki in the entire fucking franchise.
I just want to go back and watch Standalone Complex, and that Aramaki saying, oh yeah, I guess I should bring up, I watched Standalone Complex.
Yeah, we've
before.
all
I
seen...
didn't do that recently. So I'm not some complete fucking plebe here who's like, Ghost in the Shell, what's that? I only played the PS1 game, and when they did the sneezing means someone's talking about you Japanese joke, I didn't get it, because I was a dumb 10-year-old.
So yeah, Standalone Complex, yeah, like I think we all saw like the original Toonami run or whatever. I think you saw it subbed way back in the day before it even hit Toonami, right?
I only saw like one episode like that, and then I saw the rest on Toonami.
Okay. So yeah, we've all at least seen season 1. I've seen half of Second Gig.
And Jay and I own that soundtrack.
Oh yeah. Oh man,
that's a really good Yoko Kanno album.
Well, it's a Yoko Kanno album. That's
yeah.
Well,
and I also own all the original manga, though I've lost the first half.
Right? Good job, Bob. Way to fuck that up.
Yeah.
Jay keeps saying that Bob never owned the first half.
I am pretty sure he's just making that up. Because I feel like, we can see all of his fucking Mamoru Oshii, or not Mamoru, fucking Shiro Masamune mangas there. Like, you had like a whole collection of them, and just...
I know I bought that at some point, because I had 2. There's no way I would have bought 2 before 1.
His autism's too high to allow for that.
Oh, no, like, because I know I bought 1. Did I just loan it to you, and maybe you just bought 2?
I feel like...
Maybe that happened. I don't know.
I feel like Bob would have gotten home, tried to put it on his bookshelf next to one, saw that he didn't own one, and just go, and throw the entire bookshelf over.
Autistic screeching?
Yes, exactly. At least that's how I would deal with it, honestly. That would really piss me off.
So yeah, this movie though, it mostly is pulling from... Okay, visually, it is mostly pulling from the Oshii film.
It does many times.
Yeah,
I would say that. Like, they change... Like, it's not a Watchmen scenario. They do change a lot of sequences.
Yeah,
visually.
Yeah, it is weird when it feels like a chunk to go straight to the scene for scene move or stuff from the original movie. So.
Right, because it does pull from a few things, and it's always really weird when it hard shifts into pulling from those things.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, the beagle.
Yeah.
The puddle of water action sequence.
Yeah.
Oh, the garbage man.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Because
the entire
you never see it coming.
diving sequence.
Because the way it transitions between these are unique. Like, it's not like the original in the way it justifies the diving sequence and that the way it justifies the garbage men.
Yeah, like every the context behind every single scene is different from what it was in the Oshii film.
Yeah, the most contextually similar is the puddle fight following the garbage scene.
Yeah.
Right. That would have been hilarious if they actually rearranged that and made it so that was a wholly different fight.
It almost could have.
Right.
Because it was all so different leading up to that. I'm really disappointed that line in the movie, the original movie, about that's what happens when your dumbass loads too large of a bullet in a submachine gun.
Yeah.
I was sad that line didn't make it.
The high velocity bullets in the submachine gun not being there. That was what made that scene for me in the original. Like, that's probably the coolest thing that whole movie.
Yeah. It's just, what an edgelord. That's what you get. You get wrecked, son.
Yeah, like this movie also does, it doesn't just pull from the Oshii film though. It does make tiny little references to other things. Like, the opening sequence is a combination of the first episode of Standalone Complex, the opening to both the manga and
movie,
the original film, and like little minor references to Innocence as well. So it is pulling different things from like the wider Ghost in the Shell canon, and I do appreciate that because whenever I feel like once you've had so many iterations of something, and you're gonna do like a big oh, this is our new version of it. Yeah, go ahead and pull a couple of references for the fans and stuff. I kind of always enjoy that.
Yeah,
like
it
did
feel like the guy making it was legitimately a fan.
Yeah, it felt like he was a legitimate fan. Like, he really wanted to just kind of pull different things from around the continuity. He didn't just want to pull like, oh, I'm going to do the Oshii film. Like, he wanted to put his own spin on it. He wanted to pay tribute and homage to the wider continuity. Shit, like at one point when they're in that one club, she's wearing the outfit from fucking Arise. Even though we've never seen Arise, we know that fucking outfit, like that that red bodysuit. So yeah, like, it was really cool. Like, he even, something as new as Arise, he even plucked that out and just put that in there just for having it in there, and that was really nice.
Yeah, I just personally, I found it jarring, the transition from new thing fan service. It was always kind of like that scene I mentioned in Innocence. One of my favorite scenes is in this, weirdly enough, where they go and talk to the person who's doing the deconstruction on the geisha robot.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And they turn it into a reason to do a deep dive.
Yes.
And the deep dive sequence looked hideous. I was really expecting it to look cool as hell, but it honestly just looked terrible.
We
mentioned it after we watched it. A lot of the movie sequences are so dark and muddy that we're like, maybe on an OLED.
Yeah, it's really, it kind of makes me sad because, like, I feel like the director behind this, like Bob was saying, like, he's a fan. He really did care about the material, but he's not a good enough director for that to really carry this film and make it something special, which is why I think a lot of the, because the fucking studio is now like kind of backpedaling and being like, oh no, like the movie's box office is being hurt because of the reviewers are rating it poorly because of the whitewashing controversy. It's like, no, you made a boring movie that just kind of fell flat and doesn't connect with people. That's the bigger issue here.
Jay, the next thing you're gonna tell me is that Ghostbusters with ladies bombed because it was bad.
Well, I mean, that had to have been the case because it got great reviews because people are pussies.
Did it actually get great reviews?
It has like an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that movie's hilarious. I've only seen the trailer and wanted to kill myself, but I'm sure the full film isn't 2 hours of me wanting to kill myself.
Yeah,
Let's go rent it after this, Dan. We'll watch it in the Matrix and then Standalone Complex.
Bob,
over TVs.
Bob, I think you just fucking challenged him, and you know what happens when you do that.
I mean, I don't work for another 12 hours.
All right, Bob did it to himself. I mean, he's asking for it,
That's
literally.
on you, man. That's on you.
So, okay.
You gonna join us for that, Hailsleah?
Fuck it, why not?
Maybe there's a WeeaBoots in there.
Well, I mean, the Ghost in the Shell animated television show, Real Ghostbusters, is basically an anime.
Yeah.
It is a really good cartoon. It's all on Netflix now.
You know the best anime? And since we haven't done WeeaBoots in a while, this has been my first opportunity to crack this joke in a while. Inspector Gadget. Made in Japan, directed by French people.
Fair enough.
French slang for no.
Also the first season of TMNT, done by Toei.
Yep. But was it directed by French people?
No, I think that's all American directors.
Inspector Gadget all the way.
I mean, it's double anime.
Yeah.
Because it's
The French slang.
Yeah. Anime Daishu or Daishu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Daishu. I think
Yeah.
you had that right. But for those who don't know, let me tell you how good my joke was. Let me explain it. So,
As Dan molests the microphone with his mouth.
anime is a French slang word for anime, and they coined the term. So, Inspector Gadget was made by the French, by the Japanese for the French. So it's the best anime. But really, though, Penny,
Yeah.
she's awesome. She established, like, no shit. This is gonna get a little preachy, but she established my standard for women growing up. I was like, women are supposed to be badasses too. Look at Penny. I feel like most people who disrespect women did not watch Inspector Gadget.
I mean, she was a great female role model.
She's fucking great.
I mean, she's better than, say, like April O'Neil from back then.
Yeah, I actually think about that occasionally. I'm like, April O'Neil really isn't much of a good character for ladies.
You know who I'd also defend? Janine Melnitz from Ghostbusters. Because like she's a smart ass, she didn't take shit from people, and she would get involved in the actual ghost busting from time to time.
Okay, Chick in the movie or cartoon?
The animated one.
Okay, so I don't recall watching the cartoon. I probably watched the cartoon.
I watched it way back then, but I can't remember a lick of it.
He's like, I don't remember any of it, despite the blanket. Ghostbusters in the shell blanket.
A Ghost in the Shell blanket?
There you go. Fucking
Ghostbusters in the Shell.
Make that WeeaBoots t-shirt, Ghostbusters in the Shell.
So I feel like that should exist already. Because I mean,
It probably does. The internet sucks.
yeah, I'm about to say the internet's full of so many fucking shitty combination.
I've
t-shirt
crossed
nerdy-
these two very popular parts of pop culture. Isn't it hilarious?
God, I fucking hate those shirts.
We watched so much freaking...
You own a Sailor Freddie Mercury shirt, which is exactly that, but that one's good.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
because every so often there's like one that's really good, and it's just like awesome. Okay, I'll buy that.
I feel like our WeeaBoots fan base is pretty woke. So here's my idea for a shirt, because I hate everything. It's gonna say my other car is a, and then in giant text, Bazinga.
Oh God, I fucking hate you.
Now, my mother actually likes Big Bang Theory. So when I told her this, she's like, that sounds like an awful idea for a shirt. And I'm like, let me explain. You people drive me insane, like bumper stickers that say my other car is a blank. You people are fucking annoying. Tolerating you makes me want to kill myself. So a t-shirt that would make you read it and feel sad makes me alive. Hey, kids. Hey, Bob.
I was just going to say, we've watched a ton of Ghost in the Shell in the last few weeks. Or
And
last
no
week or so.
Ghostbusters.
No Tachicomas the whole time. No,
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Not a single thing
Yeah.
we watched had Tachicomas. Spider Tanks.
Yeah, Spider
Yes.
Tank made several appearances.
Yes.
Or-
But yeah,
oh,
no,
well,
Tachicomas.
Two.
Yeah. They didn't.
Nope.
They didn't get one sneak one in Innocence while I wasn't looking, did they?
Yeah, so yeah, no Tachikomas and no Fujikomas, nothing.
No Fujiko either.
No Fujikos, no.
Tragic.
So,
Bob, what are your thoughts on the movie?
I don't know. I mean, like I said before, it's okay. Like, it's not a great movie. It doesn't seem to have that much to say. I feel like some of the things it does with the lore are a little weird. Like, she's in the movie, she's the first person who has like a fully cyberized brain and body, or like they've actually put her head in the shell, and they keep saying, "Oh, the Ghost in the Shell," because they need to put the movie title out there a couple times. Like, you're referring to as her ghost. So it's a very much, she is different from everyone else.
And yet the term ghost has been popularized in the verbiage in such a way that makes it sound like it's a pre-existing thing to a significant extent.
Right.
Which makes no sense given that she's the first.
Yeah, and a lot of that, of the whole thing in older Ghost in the Shell is, hey, everyone's kind of already tearing their brains out for the sake of getting like UI interface, and there is that super dark angle to it.
Yeah.
Of like, what are they doing? Is this still human?
Yeah, like this movie
And
asks
it is
no
missing.
questions whatsoever. Because they took Ghost in the Shell and they basically just turned it into RoboCop, where it's just like, oh, like this person had like basically like their life.
getting revenge.
Yeah, I wish
Because
they didn't
they
spoil
tricked
that
her.
in the
Yeah.
trailers.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, no,
honestly
it's,
like. I mean,
pretty dumb.
Ghost in the Shell has been so many things. There's been so many different iterations that have done so many different things with the concepts
It's been
and the
good.
storylines.
It's been bad. It's been pretentious.
It's been real pretentious.
It's been super pretentious.
It's so woke.
But yeah, each one of them has their own sort of angle,
Yeah,
their
so-
own
so-
balance.
so this
but this
movie
is the
doing it-
weirdest balance.
But like, you know, this movie doing its own thing, you know, I'm completely fine with. Even
Right.
though the major in this completely flies in the face of the major of the original Oshii film, which is what this movie is riffing on mostly.
Okay, now why do you say that? Because I'm curious.
Because you know, the major in that, like, you know, she doesn't, because there's that whole scene on the boat where she talks about, like, you know, like, for all she knows, you know, her like, you know, her brain might not even be real. She might not be a real person. She doesn't really care who she might have been, if, you know, if her memories are even real. You know, she has like an entire line of dialogue on that boat where she basically, you know, like, if that situation of this movie had actually happened to her, and she had found out, she comes up as the type of character that wouldn't even have fucking cared, because that isn't her anymore. She only defines herself by who she currently is. And
I think by the end of that film, that's who she is. But at that exact moment in that film, I feel like that would probably crush her, because a lot of her existential crisis in that movie is the inauthenticity of her life.
yeah.
So having it be, oh, you're not even vaguely real.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I feel like she's just so disconnected from herself and her own identity,
Yeah.
that, like, you know, even if she found out that, like, she had a previous life, like yeah, like, it would be surprising. It would probably, like, but she wouldn't have this whole, like, almost like revenge story going on now.
No, she wouldn't. She wouldn't have that, I don't think.
Yeah, so, like,
But
and
hey,
that's-
guys, let's talk about memory wiping.
Okay.
We have to. It's in the fucking.
It is.
It's in the fucking trailer. We can fucking talk
Right,
about
yeah,
it.
like the
You haven't
trailer-
seen it by now, and you're worried about spoilers. I don't even know who you are.
Yeah,
Get
I mean,
out of here.
Before that, one thing
Yeah,
they show at the very beginning when they're constructing her, they actually show her brain inside of that the ghost,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which I find a little strange, because that does take out any mystery of if she was ever a human. Because clearly that is real brain matter.
For some reason, they wanted to make it super grounded.
Yeah, they wanted to make it
which is
very-
not advanced in a way. Like if you think about it,
Wait, in which?
they were saying
in the live action movie.
His
No.
phrasing. I don't know if they would. So the word ghost in the movie is weird, but it is her brain in the shell, and they're like, "This is the first time we got a shell to meld with a brain," and it's like, what's the difference between that and a shitload of augmentations?
Right, I don't.
What is your point here, movie? Because the whole point of Ghost in the Shell was that their ghosts were copied over into these human bodies. Not, we took a brain out and put it in there, and now it's
Well,
just
I'm
got
pretty
the brain.
sure- No.
In the original, they are literally like shoving a human brain into the
Yeah.
fully sealed container.
Yeah.
And that is their ghost.
Yeah, like their ghost, their ghost,
Vacuum
their
sealed
ghost
container.
is their consciousness, because you don't even need to have a human brain to technically have a ghost. That's the whole geishas and Innocence. They have a ghost one. They have a ghost line. Whatever. That's early enough in that movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have a ghost line even though they're completely synthetic. So you don't actually need to have a human brain. It's not a human brain. It's a sense of consciousness, a sense of self and self-awareness.
Right.
So yeah, it is kind of weird how to use the word ghost, because it seems like they're just using the term ghost to mean brain, is
Yeah,
what I'm assuming.
I mean, it sounded like they were trying to go for a bit of the esoteric nature of the term ghost in the first movie.
Right.
But that doesn't make any fucking sense, because why would that verbiage be popularized? There's no one else like her.
Well, isn't that term only used by the Major and the Doctor?
No, it's used by other people.
It's used by
Bato.
Aramaki, and I guess it does used by Bato too. But,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
man,
it's weird vernacular that exists in the universe for seemingly no reason. It's like if we all suddenly knew a word that applied to one thing that exists.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she's their coworker, so maybe they've all just read up on it.
She's like, "Hey guys, read this manual."
right? They came with her the little box.
No, it was like an HR video. Coming to work with the first ghost in the shell.
So yeah,
Do not stare at her boobs. She has robot boobs. They are not real.
okay, let's talk about that real quick, because
Oh no.
because it does bother me, because this, once again, it's lifting so much from the original Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
And one of the elements of that is that because she has that existentialism in that film, she's kind of disconnected from her physical form.
Yeah.
So she doesn't view herself as human, blah blah, even though she has a fully anatomically correct human body. And there's like that whole scene on the boat where she's like undressing in front of Bato, and Bato is like, even though she's fully synthetic, he still gets kind of
Yeah, Bato assumes more human dignity and decency to her body than she does, because to her it's artificial and that isn't her.
Yeah, and like they kind of have that in this movie, but like because her body doesn't look fully human, like it's still segmented, it's not anatomically correct.
Do they have that in this movie? Like, is there a moment where somebody's like, "Oh,
the boat one"?
Yeah,
happened.
oh, it's just that"?
Yeah, well, the thing is
just
though,
that.
even when Bato, because it does that whole scene where she's like taking off her dive suit,
Yeah.
and Bato like looks at her, and then like he just kind of casually tilts his head away. But it didn't feel like he had like that sense of embarrassment, like, oh man, she's getting naked, let me not look.
Right.
He just looked like he was just kind of casually looking away, like.
And
oh,
at the end of the puddle fight, there's no throwing a coat over her.
Yeah.
There's no sequences like that where like
So-
Bato feels uncomfortable with her nude form, because to him that's that's something private, and he feels uncomfortable by it.
Right.
He doesn't view her physically like as a person, and I feel like having those sequences there, but not having the additional layer kind of devalues it.
I mean, honestly, her not having an anatomically correct body sort of removes some of the more important contrasting visual thematic dissonance, like intentional dissonance of like her beautiful, immaculate human body is gross and useless to her, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Despite how perfect it is literally less than nothing to her, and it doesn't mean anything. She doesn't use it to her gain at any point. It just is a thing.
Yeah. It's just a tool.
Like the way Evita is, and no one would jack off to Evita.
Dan.
But I'm looking at you, Jay.
Bullshit! Don't you even fucking look at me.
I never jacked off to Evita.
But I mean, that's one of those things I believe it's done solely to hit that PG-13.
It's definitely
That's all it is.
I'm not.
It's only for the PG-13 rating, and I feel like the PG-13 rating actually cripples this film a little bit.
Some dude in the writer's room is just like, "Hey guys, this removes that layer of that movie," and the other guy's like, "Wait, are we trying to write something like that other movie? Because we've done a lot of things so far."
Yeah, I just feel like if you're gonna have those scenes, you should do it right. Try to keep some of that meaning there.
So completely connected to that, I feel like that Bato boat scene doesn't connect well with the rest of the movie at all.
Yeah, no.
Like they just wanted to have her diving into the water sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Bato immediately
he knew exactly.
She says at the end of that scene, "I need you to take me to blank. You need to take me back." And then he's gone in the very next shot. And when we catch up with Bato again, he has no idea what happened. Where did Bato go? What the fuck is with that?
Yeah,
It almost seems like that was, and that's why I said this movie felt like 3 rewrites shoved together, because there are a couple moments like that where it just seems disconnected, and it's just weird. I like the completely cynical part of me is like, did they just want that for the visual diving sequence, just visually, for the trailers and for the fan service?
You know what bugs me about that scene is, like, Bato says, like, "Oh, I know where she is," So it's implying that she
Yeah.
didn't even have that boat, that Bato brought that boat out there, knew exactly where she was going to surface, because, you know,
Yeah.
she gets onto the boat. It's like, you know, you didn't have to come looking for me or whatever. It's just like...
I assumed that he brought his own boat and her boat was already docked out there because she had to get out there some way. But yeah, I guess you could also take it as that of like
Yeah,
she
'cause
just
there wasn't a second boat.
Yeah, there wasn't a second boat in that scene, so it's just like, how the hell, like he knew exactly where she was under the water and just was waiting for her to surface.
Yeah.
And that was just a really weird thing because, like, in the original, you know, that scene makes more sense because, you know, they were just hanging out together, having a couple of beers.
In the original, it's almost a completely different scene. Bob, what were you gonna say about the boat scene? You started to say something, and then Leon started. Okay, never mind.
I don't remember.
We'll come back to you later. But yeah, no, that scene's bad. Its presence in the movie is questionable, and it really bugged me when Bato just was clueless. One disappeared. Okay, slight spoilers. What happens right after that is she is on the dock. Presumably, he would have to go there with her because there's one boat, as far as the movie has shown or implied.
Right.
She's on the dock, and some SWAT type people kidnap her, basically.
Oh yeah, that was so fucking
weird. And
weird.
it's like, where the fuck's Bato? Why the fuck isn't Bato taking her in? You catch up with Bato something like 8 minutes later in the movie, and Bato's like, "What happened to her?" And it's like, "Where were you? Where were you?
Yeah.
What the fuck?"
So
I told her to go that way, and I swam back to shore.
She's like, "I need you."
Yeah,
to...
why didn't we account for that? Bato swam out there.
Yeah, because he's not heavy, because he doesn't have enough augmentations. No, fucking. She's like, "I need you to take me back." Bato's like, "Nope," and then he swam back.
Okay, so something that bugged me with the diving scene. Okay,
Yeah.
Like, she's not wearing like any type of oxygen tank or anything because she's an android, so she doesn't need to breathe,
Right?
Or a cyborg, so doesn't need to breathe. And I thought that was really cool because the original did actually have a mask on her.
Yes,
And
because
I
they
was-
like filling those things with organs in the original, whereas this, it seems like layers of flesh-like material.
Yeah, so I thought it was really cool that, like, you know, that they actually just had her, like, you know, unmasked underwater floating down there. I thought it was a really cool visual. But like when she first gets her robot body, the first thing is like, breathe. It's like, wait, well, does she breathe or does she not breathe? And there's that weird little everything about that boat scene is just wrong. And it is like the one thing that they shoved into this movie from the original that just doesn't fucking work.
I find some of Kuze, the bad guy's lines, or Kuzo. Is it Kuzo?
I think it's Kuze, because
Okay.
that's the name he has in Ghost in the Shell Kick 2.
Yeah. Ghost in the Shell 2 or Ghost in the Shell Innocence?
No, the second gig, the second season of
Standalone Complex.
Okay, that's just
Second
clarifying so everyone knows. Kuze.
Mm-hmm.
He says some lines that are also like that boat scene where you're like, okay, so what is the nature of this character again? Because he says multiple lines of like, I don't want to spoil it too much, but there are things about he's the number in a series, or he's been born. He says, I've been being born this time, my name is Kuze, or something like that.
Yeah, he says he's been reborn multiple times, or he's been...
This time he is known by the name Kuze.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, is he some iteration-based weird shit like Puppet Master? Or
Yeah,
like,
and
what
then
the fuck's going on? Like, what could this be? And then it's the most plebeian, fucking Hollywood-ass, he was the first to be burned.
Yeah.
Okay. He was also her friend. Not okay.
Yeah, it's... Like I do kind of like...
We're spoiling the show.
Yeah,
I was like, there's no way.
We're deep in
Yeah,
spoilers now.
We already said, if you care about spoilers, what are you doing here?
Okay. Before we jump into spoilers...
Too late.
Before we jump into the legit spoilers for the end of this movie, because, I mean, pretty much we haven't really said anything that's beyond the trailers. The trailers do spoil a lot of this movie.
They really do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like basically everything we said so far, except for John.
Yeah.
In any case,
So,
yeah.
we'll go with like a quick recommendations. Do we actually recommend this movie real quick?
I don't find any part of this movie to recommend to someone.
I'm in
I
the
feel
same
like
boat.
I would recommend the first animated film.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat, Bob.
I'd say I kind of recommend a rental or something. You don't need to go see it.
Yeah, like maybe like a rental.
It's a
have
fun like
couple of-
action movie.
I can't even say that, but
Yeah, I feel like
because the action sequences are so
sequences
poorly.
are really weak.
Yeah, like
but
they aren't
there's
quite.
visually interesting stuff going on.
Yeah,
and
there's
it's-
there's some interesting visuals, but then like the ones that they lift directly from the Oshii film aren't as visually interesting as because like
Right, yeah,
like
it's not.
the puddle fight scene. like, you know, like it had like a quick crunchiness to just, you know, and ferocity to that fight. That was great. It was quick, it was short, it was nice.
She was breaking arms.
Yeah, and in this new version, it's all like slick Hollywood, like slow-mo flipping guy in the air, and it's just like,
I think one thing that like that exact time of anime is really, it's all about just being really brutal and not pulling any punches.
Well, not only that, the style of that anime is so realism based.
Right, but I'm just saying that when you make a PG-13 movie, you lose a lot of that. Like you don't have any sequences of heads exploding. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hate the fucking industry because I really wish this would have been like a more, like a lower budgeted film that could have gotten away with maybe having an actual Asian actress just to appease people, get them to shut the fuck up, but also get away with having, like, you know, just more violent sequences and get that R rating. Because, god damn it, I think this movie really would have benefited from it.
And I don't really like the hologram filled world that they kind of
it's so Blade Runner-y, like, fucking so, like, they just, it's like that guy's just like, well, we need to use visual shorthand so people know it's cyberpunk.
So if you can imagine, Blade Runner was London or China in that universe. Just go to any other major city where it's less smoggy and rainy.
Right.
And that's where this takes place.
Yeah.
I guess, Bob, you were trying to get out whether or not you would recommend it fully. Yeah. You were saying the visuals were kind of okay.
Yeah, I feel like it was... I still kind of enjoyed watching it. Like, it wasn't bad to watch. I didn't feel bored or like it was just...
Yeah, I don't think any of us left the theater angry.
Yeah, no,
it's
not
a frustrating movie. Like, it's hard to... I'd say it really falls in that rental category of, you don't go see it in theaters. This isn't worth like a full $10, $15, whatever your movie theater is.
$30.
Yeah,
but it's still enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that because it's just, you know, I didn't walk out of that movie angry. I wasn't like, oh, what a horrible waste of my money. Oh my god, they ruined Ghost in the Shell. It was just like, it was adequate.
It didn't even feel like a huge waste of time or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it wasn't feel ripped.
It wasn't that horrible thing that had Batman and Superman in it. So,
personally, as someone who generally gets super fucking, a sequence visually has to be really good for me to love it and for me to find value in it, because a lot of the time if they have an idea for a sequence and it's not doing something interesting, like either, I don't know, thematically or like literally visually, like in John Wick 2 there's a mirror hall sequence. That
was so good.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like The Matrix does Ghost in the Shell style, Hollywood style action better than this Ghost in the Shell movie.
Of course.
Which is fucking sad because, of course, technology was nowhere near what it is now.
I mean, shit, like the fucking market chase scene is with Agent Smith near the end of the film. Like that's just pretty much pulled directly from Ghost in the Shell with the fucking garbage man.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like that.
The pursuit on foot.
Yeah.
Sort of very. Yeah, it is that, and it's good.
Yeah, there's a few different action sequences in that movie that's almost pulled directly from the original Ghost in the Shell, like very directly inspired. So
I would say
know you can do that.
The first Matrix movie has way better cinematography than this.
It was probably a much cheaper film to make too.
That's the funny part. Yeah,
right.
They spent what, $100 million?
I think it was like 150 million.
And for that, they hired a freaking real like Hong Kong action director. So of course, it's better in all regards as far as action goes.
Nobody can top Yuan Woping. Like he's just fucking action directors wise, you fucking can't.
Yeah, see, that's
they should have tried to get him for this. I don't care if he's dead. He isn't, as far as I know, but
I'm pretty sure he isn't.
Okay,
pretty sure he isn't.
I really wish they just would have gotten the Wachowskis. Like, let's just be real here.
Well, we're gonna get the Wachowskis, but then apparently there aren't any brothers anymore. It's just sisters, and women can't make movies. Whoa, what the fuck is...
What the hell is your phone doing?
My Puyo Puyo video decided to resume.
Oh. But yes.
I don't know if I've seen anything that would make me trust Wachowskis after the first Matrix film.
Speed Racer was fine.
Speed Racer was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a really good movie.
I haven't seen Jupiter Rising.
I've only heard bad things about that one.
AJ, you seem like you may have seen
that Netflix series.
I have seen Jupiter Rising.
How's Jupiter Rising?
I will say two things about that movie.
WeeaBoots review of Jupiter Rising, the new anime from the Wachowski.
I did thoroughly enjoy Jupiter Rising. It is not a good movie.
I enjoy the cheesesteaks that you get in the Walmart freezer section.
Like, I mean, it's really visually interesting. It's got a lot of cool sci-fi elements to it that I thought were really creative. It's got like a really cool, complex social structure, and like it really felt like they spent a lot of time fleshing out that world and like trying to make a world that felt real. And like I really liked all those elements to that movie. The characters were nice. It feels like almost like traditional fairy tale with a huge sci-fi slant to it, and I really like that element too. But there's just so much stuff in that movie that it's too tightly compacted, and I feel like it needed to be like another hour longer.
For some reason, I got really paranoid that I said the wrong martial artist choreographer. I was like, oh shit. Yuan Wo Ping, right? And I look it up and it says Kill Bill at first. I'm like, uh-oh. Then I look further and it's the Matrix as well. Okay, we're good.
But yeah,
we're good.
like I really wish the Wachowski sisters would have done this. I want to see them make something now that they are sisters. Because
wait, I thought only one of them.
No, they're both
now.
sisters
Oh,
now.
okay.
They both, like, one of them let them cross the bridge first.
Yeah.
One of them let the other cross that bridge first. And they're like, we're going to see how this goes. You go first. Okay, I think this will go fine. Now I'll go.
Yeah, I will say though, Cloud Atlas is totally worth watching and is really fucking good.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And the VFX studio that made it got fucked, right?
I think everyone got fucked because of that movie because nobody wanted to fucking see it.
Well,
because
the thing was, the way they pay VFX studios is based
Yeah.
heavily on revenues. Yeah, so kind of like Kevin Smith films, they just sort of upfront make it sound like it's a great deal, and then in the end, you're the main star of two pretty well selling movies. And Kevin's just like, sorry, Randall, we can't pay you. There's just no money in my mansion.
My podcast mansion.
Podcast network mansion hut. Yeah, no, I the writing is not good.
are we
like,
still
it's
talking
not-
about? Are we talking about Ghost in the Shell now?
No, I'm talking about the Matrix. No. Yeah, I'm talking about Ghost in the Shell, the live action movie. The writing's really not good. Like, it's not bad. It's not broken. It's not dysfunctional most of the time. The water scene, weird. The fact they end the movie with just the, like, another jumping off the roof scene. Like,
I do like that it bookends those.
See, I just found it dumb, and they were like, we need a different or a different jumping off a ceiling thing, so that way she could do the hand thing.
Yeah,
because we recorded two versions of this, and we need to use both.
It was super weird because I saw the trailers with the hand thing.
Yeah.
And then they didn't do it at the beginning of the movie. It's like, wait, she's going to do this again?
Yeah, I
See, my thought was, oh, they cut it.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, I guess that was just for the trailer.
And then they did it at the end, and I was like, you just needed it for the trailers, didn't you? And
Yeah.
you realized that after filming the first version.
I did like that they kind of bookend with those two scenes.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say this. This movie is really forgettable. That is probably my biggest criticism of it.
Yeah, you were excited that we were recording this close to us watching
Yeah,
it
because
you
I was
thought
just
you
like,
would
Jesus
forget.
Christ, like I need to like try to remember this movie. If we wait any longer, I'm not gonna fucking remember it to fucking critique it.
But yeah, I feel like it's in the way many bad action movies are, the bad guy isn't well developed.
No.
Yeah.
There's nothing thematic going on with it either,
The
which is
problem
tragic
with the
because
bad guy-
both. Let me finish
Yeah.
my recommendation or whatever real quick. The problem with the bad guy is when you contrast that to the original movie, the bad guy was the bad guy. In both cases, quote, the bad guy, is really well developed and thematically relevant in the original. And in this one, it's stupid as fuck. Like, what that character is fucking the most retarded shit. And yeah, most of the writing in the movie isn't philosophical either. So it's just really forgettable action movie stuff as they're moving from one set piece to another. Some of it looks neat. Most of it doesn't. None of it looks stunning. Like,
Right.
I didn't hit any moment in the movie where I was like, oh, fuck, that's cool as shit. Meanwhile, John Wick, with like a third the budget, is just doing crazy good looking shit constantly.
Why wasn't Keanu Reeves the Major?
Okay, so I think since we're in the
So we're
spoiler-
doing the hard shift to the spoilers so I can
Yeah.
immediately make the joke. Whoa, that was a tiny Asian girl. Whoa. I guess this
so-
wasn't whitewashing. I guess it was really woke.
Okay, so this movie. Okay,
Scarlett Johansson looks at the camera. So it's okay.
So for those that I think a lot of people notice, even Aggro knows about this now because he was just like, so I've heard it, and I just started laughing. He goes, okay, so that is what happened before you even finished the sentence. The Major, before she was a cyborg, was an Asian woman named Makoto Kusanagi or Motoko Kusanagi.
You almost got it. It's okay. We understand.
Yeah, I will forever fuck that name up on the first time.
But basically, her and a bunch of derelicts hung out in an area called the free zone or the no law zone?
The no law zone.
The no law zone. What a stupid fucking name. So they're hanging out in the no law zone like it's an MMO, and that's the open association area. And then the police burn down the place and kick down the door, and they kidnap a bunch of kids and put their brains in the machine.
The special forces that are owned by that company.
Of Hanka Electronics. Hanka Manufacturing.
Yeah, because they're anti-tech, and they have a blog for spreading their anti-tech propaganda.
See, this is where the crappiness of the movie
comes because, once again, it's another thing where she kind of flies in the face of what the original Major was about. Like, where the Major was all about tech and that connectivity
Yeah, she was
the
a
internet.
fucking total otaku. That's why Meryl was constantly like, Akiba!
But yeah, it's just... But yeah,
Kojima's a great writer!
But yeah, I feel like when they do that, like I feel like they handle it in like the most tone deaf way possible, like the most unaware, like because to them it's like, oh well, we're making a reference to the original that it was originally an Asian woman named Makoto Kusanagi or Motoko Kusanagi. God damn it! And like to them it's like, oh, we're being referential to the source material. See. And they're not like I feel like this was an opportunity for the movie to actually be smart and make some commentary
and that's
on the nature of Hollywood and casting and whitewashing, and they completely missed that opportunity to actually be a smart movie.
I don't think they need to do that in order for it to like the way they handled the reveal and the slight development of her being Motoko is the shittiest. It seems ham-fisted into the movie at the last minute, which is weird because the actual location looks cool.
Yeah.
Like, weirdly enough, it was one of the best looking parts of the movie.
It was one of the only real places.
They had this... Okay, so it was one of the only real places. They had a giant driveway, like a parking lot, that went all the way up, and it was circular. So, one, that just looks cool, period.
Yeah.
But when she gets to her own grave, it's like a stadium of graves. Instead of stadium seating, it's just tombstones the whole way down. I was like, wow, both of these look like it just looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like I love how everything in this arc, this tiny weird plot arc of the movie, like the locations are neat.
Right.
They look cool. Where is this in the rest of the movie?
Yeah, like and the thing is, so that's one of the few things that's completely original to this movie.
Yeah.
And it's a really well shot scene. Like, when it first shows it and it shows it from that top down angle, you see like that cylinder like, framing of the buildings. It's great shit. I loved it.
And yet the fucking dialogue in those scenes are dog shit.
It is. That is where the dialogue in this movie just hits rock bottom. Because it's like, because she goes and visits her mother and she's
then her mom's like, your English is impressive. And she's like, my sensei taught me.
That didn't happen. I have to know that didn't happen.
Kojima guest star.
So yeah, just when she gets there and she like looks over and she goes, that's Motoko's room. And then she just starts expositing all this information about the Major's previous life to the Major without
no
any probing
idea of how the Major is here. It's like breaking and entering for the first few seconds.
I mean,
it's weird.
She lets her in.
Yeah.
And I guess that the only justification to give for all of this is you remind me of my daughter, but I see that in a lot of young women. So I'm guessing this random Japanese lady has been letting women into her house and just talking
possibly
to them.
kidnapping them, carving them up, and like throwing them in closets and shit. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, it is such a weird. Like the dialogue is so ham-fisted, out of. That is where the writing in that one section of that movie is absolute fucking dog shit. Everything
That's a
else
very,
is
very special qualification you've given it. During that one moment of the movie, that is the worst moment of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, during any one moment, it's the worst and best moment.
Sorry. Throughout the entirety of that film, that is the absolute...
Because, it's that and Kuze for me. Kuze's really fucking bad in how he's handled in this movie.
I don't mind Kuze. I feel like he's generic. But yes,
those are the worst lines in the movie. I feel like for mishandling the arc you're trying to do, both of those arcs are fucked.
Because
I feel like that could have been really neat, like the going meeting your mom, if they left that a lot more vague. Like,
or you can do it two ways.
Mm-hmm.
You can leave it super vague. It also, there was like no emotion.
Yeah, it's so dry. Like, it goes into straight fucking Matrix dialogue mode.
The Matrix had better dialogue.
I'm talking about like how dry the exposition is, where they're just.
Oh, you're talking about the Matrix 3.
Okay. It was Neo talking to the Merovingian. Dry.
Whoa. As I come back to that scene, I love it.
I mean, everyone gets to be retarded once in their life.
It is black dude's wife talking to random side character as they fight the squids. Level of filler.
Oh, no. No.
I would rather recommend any of the Matrix films over this movie.
Wow.
I mean, okay.
Assuming you're watching the third one on a format that can fast forward.
Okay, I was like,
because those squid battles
3 was
are
just
terrible.
like an hour
But
of nothing.
The opening joke is the best joke in movie history. It's the train man sequence.
Oh
where
my
he
God,
runs
that's
off
in 3.
one end of the screen and ends up on the other, looks back where he ran from and goes, shit. Like, it's such a perfect wide shot joke. Like, it was fucking Looney Tunes for 4 seconds there. And the great thing is he's building up to it. He's like, fuck this, I'm not waiting. And he just runs.
So,
yeah, in any case. The movie's plot is terrible. They just do everything possible to shitty. Like, and the worst thing is, like, everyone watches the trailer and they're like, oh, they're turning Ghost in the Shell into a schlocky fucking revenge flick. Oh, I hate Hollywood. And I'm like, it's probably going to be pretty bad, but you could do a good revenge flick. It's not going to be a bad revenge flick necessary. And then you
John
watch
Wick.
It. Right. John Wick's.
She needed a beagle and it needed to be killed.
Yes. Correct.
Would have made for a better movie.
It would have made for a better movie.
But yeah, this movie isn't smart enough to be like intellectually engaging. It's not like stupid enough to be just pure popcorn flick, funny and entertaining like the Matrix sequels. It's not well choreographed enough or well shot enough to be to be like exciting and like really gripping as an action film.
Yeah.
It just like there's just so many parts where I'm just like it does all the things that I feel an Americanized adaptation of Ghost in the Shell should do. Like, pull a little few references, get some iconic moments, but just the directing isn't there, the writing isn't there. You can tell the people making it gave a shit. They really did. They just didn't have what it took to make this movie a reality, and it sucks because this feels like a fan's film.
It kills me because it really comes off as, man, with some really good writers, this could have been a great film because they put in the effort.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they shit this one out.
Yeah.
It wasn't aborted halfway through or anything. Real quick, though, I do want to say the writing in Matrix 3 is worse than this movie.
Okay.
Man,
Okay,
I'm
good.
just gonna, because, like,
Did they know it was writing in Matrix 3?
That ending.
God.
Also, it's really weird that the ending of Ghost in the Shell is basically Metroid Other M. I give you permission.
Also, okay.
Excuse me? Or that, from that angle, I see. Now she is...
Now she is Samus.
Okay, so when she gives
Samus Amand.
when she gives her consent that last time, because the whole like giving consent thing,
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about the very ending where she's on the ceiling and Aramaki goes, I give my consent. And then she jumps off the building. But yes, no. The dumbest moment in the movie, like the kind of moment in the movie that just makes your jaw drop and you go, what? Aramaki's a badass in this film,
yes.
which is great. It's really enjoyable. They send hit squads after him and he just fucking guns them down and he's like, you don't send a rabbit to do a fox's job.
Right.
It's
oh
fucking
my
good.
God. That is my favorite line in that whole fucking movie.
It's definitely the best line.
Yeah, it is. It is great. It is the one quotable thing that is original to this film that I go, yes.
But then the conclusion of Aramaki and his active engagement in the movie is when he goes up to the head of Henkel Electronics, who just got done doing a spider tank battle with Motoko and lost, and he goes to execute him and he's like, I just talked to the prime minister. Prime minister said it's okay if I kill you. I'm gonna kill you now. Hey Motoko, do you want me to kill him? Motoko's like, yeah, fuck him up, boy. And then he does it.
Yeah, it's
actually, you know what, that's too much credit. If Motoko said, yeah, fuck him up, boy. That would be my favorite line in the movie.
Yes, that would be pretty amazing.
And then she goes, Nash out.
God damn you, fucking referencing that piece of shit. So, okay, I did want to bring up, okay, like, there's this whole repetition of her having to give consent before, they do anything to her.
Yes.
And near the end...
whenever they do surgical procedures to the Major, she has to say, I, Motoko, or I...
Mira Killian is the name they gave her.
I'm never going to remember.
Yeah, no.
I remembered.
I Major...
I, Mellow Kira, give my permission or give my consent.
Yeah, I give.
That's what she says during numerous surgeries and everything else. And then the twist is 2/3 through the movie, they're like, "We never needed your consent." She's like, "You're gonna kill me."
Yeah,
and then she's like, "Nah, I had this vial full of your memories and I just shot it into your brain."
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that was just something to get rid of the sedative.
To de-inhibit her?
Yeah. And it was something to get rid of the inhibitors, and then, she gave... Because her memories were on that thing.
Yeah.
That she put in her hand. Okay, I was going to say, though, there's that whole...
But she did hold a thing, and she's like, this has all your memories. She literally said that.
No, yeah. That's what she hands her.
See?
Yeah, she hands her...
So they had this backed
up. They just keep that incriminating evidence around.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why they might. I can understand why they might want to keep that around. Maybe if she starts having some sort of weird brain malfunctions or some shit, and they maybe need to
kill her like they were planning to right then. Yeah, I can see how that would be helpful.
Well, I mean,
maybe they need backups to go to restart, but yeah, I don't know.
But it's a human brain.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, so I was gonna say
Cyberpunk is weird.
Movie's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, in any case, you were gonna say that repetition, that motif.
Yeah, so when they do it the last time, and they're going to, the
Aramaki scene.
Yeah, the Aramaki scene about to kill the head of Henka Electronics. She just says I, the Major, give my consent. That bugged the shit out of me because I felt because this movie's had this whole thing with her identity and how she feels about herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, it's the opposite of the Major from the original film.
Yeah.
It's she finally knows who she is. And I felt like that was a moment in the film where they could have cemented how she feels and maybe kind of create some sort of theme or something. But
hey Bob, I don't know about this guy. I don't know about you. But, that was just a dumb Hollywood thing.
I mean, yeah.
That was a script writing for Hollywood types.
Oh, yeah,
where it's oh man, it's like a throwback. And it's no, that doesn't make
I know. And it's
any sense.
Yeah, they made it a fucking cliche moment. And they could have, because in that moment...
She might as well have said, ho, 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 now I have a gun.
But yeah,
because Die Hard did it. I can't wait.
I was going to say, that was a moment where they could have said, she could have said her name. One of her two names.
Yeah.
And whichever name she chose would have kind of given the idea of how she views herself now that she, has this identity. If she had said Mira Killian or whether or not she had said Motoko Kusanagi.
Look, what she self-identifies as isn't your business, one. And two, it's whichever is okay to say the N-word as. when she feels like saying it.
Look, she identifies now as Major.
Yeah.
Right?
She's fully owned the job.
She's evolved. She's
my god.
She's a corporate businessman.
Can I just say how much it irks the shit out of me that instead of being some long storied fucking militaristic badass that's been through wars and shit, she is
1-year-old.
Yeah, she's basically just a 1-year-old. She's this former a supposed refugee that fucking fell off of a boat or whatever, and it's just
sure.
Oh my god, that made her so much less interesting as a character.
I mean, that whole universe.
They do a similar thing to they do in Arise of she's really inexperienced.
Yeah,
and it makes it less interesting because of it.
Yeah, and I just feel because well, why is she working for Section 9? Because they saved her life? Because they own her body? Is she being forced to do this? Is she indebted to them? Does she want to be a part of Section 9? Does she even want to be a fucking soldier? This movie doesn't tackle any of those elements because once again, it's not smart enough to. This movie, framework is there, even using this exact same plot. The framework is there to hang interesting ideas off of and conversational points off of, and they just don't do it.
And that's why I feel like it was 2 or 3 reruns.
Yeah,
it feels like there was a smarter movie here.
Yeah.
And then it got dumber.
I feel maybe Hollywood went, Peter Griffin isn't going to understand this guy, so let's move some of this philosophical bullshit.
I feel like the moral grays here are really going to upset audiences.
Right. So I don't really have anything else to say about this movie. I think I'm tapped.
I actually, I liked where they ended it, like where they got people like that. They actually kind of ended with a shot of, okay, this feels more like a standalone complex thing. She's just going on different missions now, and they kind of set it up for a possible sequel even there.
Yeah.
And I think that they're interesting to do things to do in that universe still. So maybe they have a second chance, but I doubt it was after the way it did at the box office.
I mean, to be fair, basically any universe is possible to have interesting things done. I haven't seen any evidence that they can use interesting things in this universe.
That's true.
I'm now, like, not just to be mean. I swear I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm now just trying to think of any universe where it's possible to not do interesting things. Okay, you could do interesting things in Gears of War. You get the right writer, you can do it.
I feel like there's nothing interesting you do in the new DC cinematic universe.
JoJo's is so fucking stale.
Okay, I don't know. Joss Whedon's supposed to be directing the Batgirl movie, so
I thought we had a deal. No mentioning JW.
I
thought it was SJWs.
Sir Joss Whedon, yeah.
Oh, okay. Damn it, I'm an idiot.
Did he get knighted while I wasn't looking?
Yeah. Yeah, he got white knighted. Zingers. Yeah, no. Again, we all left the theater. None of us were mad. For me, that probably had to do with my ticket was one paid for by my girlfriend to $8.50.
Right.
We saw it at what was oddly a higher quality theater for the region, but cheaper.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about how much chromatic aberration bugs me while watching movies. A lot.
Yeah, it's...
something
I feel like the average... Oh, I'm sorry.
Some things I don't think we covered enough is the action sequences are like really dark. Like you can't see things going on quite a bit.
I did mention that once.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, we glossed over it.
Yeah, it's like all over the movie. It's not even like, oh man, that one set piece. No, it's like breaking into the bar. It's the dive in the water. It's like a lot of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of sequences
the
like
deep
that.
dive into the geisha mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's up with that. Like,
home for release will have to be better, I'm sure, just because of the nature of you can't make a movie that dark and put it on a Blu-ray and it look like anything. Maybe the HDR version will look equally shit.
Whoa,
you gotta get that 4K Ultra HD.
It's amazing.
Ghost of the Shell experience. You really don't. You really, really don't.
What were you saying, Jay?
The music was all right. It wasn't incredible, but I felt like some of the music right at the beginning and in the end was good.
Yeah.
We were all glad that dubstep remix didn't show up.
Jesus. That dubstep remix really put this film in a bad light for me. I was like, what are they doing? Oh no.
I'm just disappointed that Depeche Mode didn't show up like in the trailers.
Yeah. Which Depeche Mode song showed up?
One of the trailers had like words like violence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When there was another trailer had that song where it was like floating in space, and it was actually a robot floating in space. And I'm like, damn, Transformers, did you just need the most obvious lyrics possible? I was like, why'd they choose this song? Cuts to Optimus Prime floating in space, floating in space, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that song was. It was the Flaming Lips song, Do You Realize? And it was a newer, sadder sounding version. We're floating in space. Shows Optimus Prime. See, we should have had like some song whose lyrics were super obvious during some of these scenes. Honestly, you say like, oh man, what are they doing with this movie? This dubstep would be terrible. A more interesting movie would incorporate that dubstep. A more memorable one too.
I guess.
Because you will just forget this one. But if it's shitted up with some dubstep and some crazy over the top Major has a personality now thing.
You guys bringing up that the music was good. I can't remember the music in this film, so yeah.
I didn't say the music was good. I
didn't say the music.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought the music was on the better end of things.
Okay.
Like it was like an 8 out of 10.
I didn't think it was intrusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember it though, so that
But it's a movie soundtrack.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was listening. I was paying attention to the music throughout the movie, and I would say it's like an 8 or 7 out of 10. Like, it's definitely on the more positive end of things. It's not super forgettable. I would listen to it on its own.
It's not a Marvel movie soundtrack.
No.
You know who really should have done the soundtrack to this? Oh crap, I'm blanking on her name. They did the fucking Tron sequel. Dan, help me.
Daft Punk?
Daft Punk, there we go. Whew! Scared me.
So, Daft Punk, right?
Uh-huh.
Everyone was like, go watch that movie. It's like a Daft Punk music video. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, you should see it. It's really good. It's like a Daft Punk music video. And I'm like, oh, cool. Because it's got the Daft Punk music going and it's a cool video going to it, right?
Uh-huh.
I went and watched the movie and I'm like, this doesn't fucking sound like Daft Punk. Because it didn't. It just
it doesn't.
Doesn't at all.
I mean,
I'm like,
I love that score. It doesn't sound like a Daft Punk.
yeah, I'm like,
album.
this it sounds like Resogun soundtrack. Like, it has that cool digital decay sound.
Yes.
That's really good.
Yes.
That wasn't what I was expecting at all. So honestly, I was kind of like, man, I wish I just bought the soundtrack because the movie's not that great.
Oh yeah, the movie was ass.
The movie was ass.
Ass. Yeah.
That's our new scale for WeeaBoots. Hey Shay, how do you feel about this movie? It's ass. Good. So yeah, none of us would recommend owning this movie ever. Do not do that.
Unless you just have to own everything that's Ghost in the Shell, then obviously nothing we're gonna say is
right. There's no stopping you. You're buying your eyes. You're buying everything.
Yeah.
You've shed your humanity. Just fucking buy it all. You goddamn fucking capitalist pig.
But yeah, I feel like if you're like the average moviegoer, because I feel like we're kind of a bit snootier.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I feel like the average moviegoer would probably be like, that was a pretty good movie.
No. I looked at the faces of the people we saw that movie with.
Like all 8 of them?
Yeah. That's 100% right there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it wasn't funny enough. It wasn't explosive enough.
Right, it was a little bit more toned back in most regard.
Revenge-y enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it I don't think I mean, if it did, obviously it'd be doing better.
Yeah, it's such a tone-deaf film. There's just there's
it
nothing.
It doesn't know, like, it feels really conflicted. It doesn't go hard into any one thing super well.
Mm-hmm. And it just kind of comes up being nothing, unfortunately.
Why don't we have the what was the Popper and the Thief scenario, where this is a movie they spent 13 years making and looks incredible, but has a story written by like a 10-year-old.
You know what looks better than this movie and actually has me more interested than this movie ever did? The new Death Note movie.
Yes. I would like to state here, because we haven't had an opportunity to talk about it. And yes, WeeaBoots will be reviewing the Death Note movie when it comes out on Netflix. We'll have our review up within 24 hours because Jay will quit his job if they schedule him that day. I'm making this promise for him.
Well, those always drop on like Friday at midnight, and I'm always off, so I can easily do that.
We'll need to schedule that.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited for that. Everyone's like, oh man, it misses the point of the original. And I'm like, yeah.
What the fuck do they think the point of the original is?
Okay, so you know how this one's super, like, actiony, running from cops, getting run down an alleyway by a police car chasing, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't maybe so much what the original was. It was more investigative and cerebral.
Yeah, but I feel like even if you... Okay, given what Madhouse did to Death Note, and given how most people... and given...
I haven't even watched that whole thing through. I fucking couldn't make it 5 episodes. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just skipping the last one. And I'm like, what the fuck is this swimming lessons bullshit? So, in any case,
I love that scene was made brilliant later.
But yeah, given what Madhouse did to that manga, to that story, and considering that's what most people associate with Death Note, I don't think these people have a right to fucking criticize what Death Note was about.
Okay, so what most people don't notice is when he first finds the Death Note in the trailer, he looks sort of normal. But then most of the trailers him after that point in the Netflix series movie, so he looks a bit more edgelordian. So I think they think that's how he always looks. And yeah, that kind of would miss the point if he was just some outcast edgelord and he's like, I got the death note. It's time to get even.
Yeah, like if it is,
he's the crazy taxi guy too.
That'd be a hilarious movie.
I know. That's why I'm like, I don't care. This looks way better than Ghost in the Shell.
It has Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is fucking Ryo.
That's the only reason I'm excited.
The actor who plays L is really good. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Something like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was like, yeah, they need to do a live action movie and it has Willem Dafoe because we were hot off of Spider-Man 2 and just constantly talking about how Willem Dafoe should be everyone. But it happened. Ryo's fucking Willem Dafoe, and I'm so fucking happy.
Yeah, it's great.
It could just be that. It could be... Okay, so it could be as bad as Ghost in the Shell live action movie and just have him as Ryo. It'd be infinitely better. Because Willem Dafoe was Ryo. That's all I need.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
good.
The director for this Death Note movie has me really interested because he did the movie You're Next, which was fucking awesome.
I'm trying to remember what movie that is.
You haven't seen it.
Some horror movie, I assume?
It starts off as a horror movie, like a home invasion film, and then it gradually shifts tones to revenge exploitation film and gets ridiculously violent with a techno soundtrack and is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, like the director is super fucking talented. I really want to see, like, just when I found out he was attached to it, I'm like, I'm sold. I don't give a shit. Like, because that's already better than the fucking Huntsman guy. Instantly.
You know what was really funny?
The Death Note gives you kung fu.
Oh, no. I mean, that's better than Ghost of the Shell movie because it's more memorable. So
right, it's so insane and just far removed.
And that's always been my stance on these sort of things. Like, even if it's bad, and everyone at some level agrees with the sentiment, though they may not say it. Like, if it's super bad, it's memorable because it's super bad. It contributed in some way. For example, The Legend of Chun-Li, Bison rips babies out of women in a cave. That contributed. That one scene and Nash out contributed to something. Whereas Ghost of the Shell will be super forgotten. There's no, like...
Okay, see, I was talking to Agro about this, and because I was just like, okay.
That Dan video games keeps saying Nash out. How do I make him stop? And he handed me a gun.
No, I was telling him, I'm like, okay, this movie was so forgettable, and I'm like, well, what makes a worse movie? Because I was going to bring up the movie that shall not be fucking named. I was just like, that thing that claims to have Batman and Superman in it.
Yeah.
I was talking about that, like, there's that movie, and then you have, like, Ghost in the Shell, like, with the movie that shall not be named, it is, we still remember everything that's in it. Like, we remember every fucking thing we hated about it. We remember, like, it sticks with you, and you have a lot of things to say about it because it's so bad.
Yeah.
This, like, I mean, we have things to say, but it's really not like, the movie's, like I said, it's forgettable. If we had done this like a week from now, we wouldn't even fucking remember. We could do a fucking podcast about that other movie, and we'd still be fucking bitching about like how terrible it was.
It's been a while since I've seen The Legend of Chun-Li.
I can still bitch about The Legend of Chun-Li.
So Nash, what an idiot.
Right?
Everything about Nash and his detective friend is really stupid. But I digress.
But yeah,
we're not talking about that.
But yeah, when I was bringing that up to him, I was just like, what makes like a movie worse? Like, being completely forgettable or just being horrible, just an atrocious piece of shit.
And then he was like, well, Descartes said.
actually, his response was like, we still remember Hitler. And I was like, it's like, just because something is memorable doesn't mean it's better. I was like, fair enough.
No, but it does mean it's important.
It is.
Also, Hitler, if Germany didn't do that weird, we're not going to talk about it thing for a few generations, causing a problem with today's youth in Germany, would serve as a proper signal of what we should avoid as a society, as a civilization going forward.
Right.
Did you guys hear anything about
I've heard
it's
about that.
super fucking weird. They're having some sort of like revisionist history problem over there with the youth.
Well, I mean, they've always had that revisionist history thing because they're trying to pretend the Holocaust didn't fucking happen.
Well, part of the problem is they thought they could just not even talk about it and it would get better.
Yeah.
It's getting worse. They're the true hackers and they're why Trump got elected. So
Yeah. So yeah.
So then when people bitch at me on Twitter about my Trump comment and linking him to Hitler, I'm just gonna screen cap it and be like, I see a lot of anime avatars. Have you noticed that trend, Jay?
Oh, well,
that happens a lot on the internet where it's like, oh man, all these gamer gators and anime avatars, all these alt-rights, they have a lot of anime avatars.
Yeah.
Like, have you noticed maybe there are just a lot of anime avatars?
Yeah. I'm going back to this movie. It's forgettable. You're not gonna fucking remember it.
Yeah, we already covered that.
Yeah,
we moved on to Death Note.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Death Note.
Yeah.
I feel like that's gonna contribute.
Like, honestly, it's gonna be weird when this low budget made for Netflix movie.
I don't know if it's gonna be that low budget. It's gonna be lower than Ghost in the Shell, which isn't saying much.
Right.
There are Marvel movies that cost less than 150.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which yet again makes me go, why does this not look as good?
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the budget.
Why didn't just put Ghost in the Shell in the Marvel universe? Then it would get it.
Right? Like,
get
you
a
just,
fucking
you
sequel.
just toss that shit in the MCU.
You have Twitter notifications, and I've seen your fans.
Right.
The great thing is when he uploads this on YouTube, a bunch of people are going to be like, hey, he's making fun of us. And then he's just going to come back with, yeah, he is. Fuck you.
Wah, 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 wah.
What were you expecting from me, you idiots?
Sympathy? Who the fuck has room for that shit?
I'm too busy reviewing all these episodes of Super. They're like, what, really? And you're like, nope. But yeah, I heard it was 100 million. But I heard one of you two say 150. I think it was Jay.
Yeah, I said 150, but I could be wrong.
Jay's now looking it up to be sure.
Yeah, where the fuck's the wiki?
I'm not a young weeb anymore. I've moved on to Naruto.
No, Dan, it's Boruto now.
Moved on to Boruto. I moved on to the live-action Rurouni Kenshin movies.
Dude, the fucking poster on the fucking wiki is more interesting than the entire fucking movie.
Yeah,
that has more artistic merit than anything that was actually in that film.
Yeah, it does look pretty interesting.
God damn it.
He's not wrong at all.
Oh, okay, 110 million.
Okay, so yeah, there are Marvel movies that cost 110 million, which makes this not making that much or costing that much kind of like, what? Why?
It didn't need to be nearly this expensive. It didn't.
Yeah, I swear they must have filmed like a lot of stuff that didn't end up in the movie, or
paid Scarlett Johansson a whole lot.
It's either paid Scarlett Johansson too much, or they fucking blew it on like all that fucking hologram bullshit and all the fucking they kept fucking showing the Major's like fucking cybernetic body and shit. Yeah. It's like, we get it. She's a cyborg. Stop, please.
We have to really drive this in.
Here's the best case scenario. Okay. Scarlett Johansson cost that much because they contracted her for showing her actual nude body. And then they cut it to make it PG-13, but the contract was already signed.
That would be some bullshit.
Yeah, that would be fucking hilarious.
Because I mean,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we're gonna do this right, and then somebody somewhere further down the process is like, no.
The worst part is, like, you know, like a movie like Titanic could get away with nudity. So I really feel like if you do it tastefully enough, or if you just make it as non-sexual and sterile as possible, like the original Ghost in the Shell did, I think you might be able to.
No.
Really?
No,
like,
not the way the original Ghost in the Shell did it was not as sterile as Titanic in the eyes of someone who doesn't get it.
Plus, Titanic was a single scene. Ghost in the Shell was very frequent.
On top of that, Ghost in the Shell does glorify her body, but more of magnifies it, makes you notice it. Like, and that's the thing. The subtext doesn't matter. There's a tit on screen for like 10 seconds.
Right, and that's what they're counting. They're not trying to take any.
Plus, there's violence elsewhere in the movie, and that's the thing. Like it's going to be murder and tits. That's definitely not PG-13.
And plus, the fucking ratings board is garbage anyhow. And
Yes,
gets worse.
it's total fucking shit. By the way, I would like to point out, last gen we had a lot of people talking about like, oh, video games are going the way of comic books. All these games are aging up. You know, they're all rated M this gen. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's the worst. You know, we're gonna lose young players because they won't be able to play these games, or these games aren't marketed at them. They kept saying this. This happened all the time, and like that bugged me a lot. But it just for some reason mentally came up yesterday. I'm like, no, fuck you. Fuck you, you're contributing to the problem of us making all culture to appeal to 13-year-olds. Making mature content is okay. And as you know, and I know, and everyone should know, kids are getting mature games. They're
Yeah,
their parents to
Call
get
of Duty is the best or top-selling 8-year-old game.
Yes.
So is Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
It's just the case.
Yes.
That's not going to change.
I remember at some point you were like, some kid was in there and he was trying to buy it, and then like he got his grandma or whatever, and then like she bought Grand Theft Auto for him, and she didn't seem to know. And I was like, oh man, this kid's like 13. I'm not. And I was like, Bob, I'm doing these numbers. We were playing it when we were 13, and we were running over hookers after they get out of the car. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, okay, that's a good point. I felt older back then. I'm like, yeah, you felt older because you were 13 and thought more. I'm pretty old. I'm 13. And it's like, no.
Hey, Dan.
Like, what?
Deadpool had a budget of $58 million.
Yeah. Yeah. Ghost in the Shell does not look good for its budget. I don't understand it.
They had to get that CG on screen constantly.
Fucking Deadpool has an all CGI character and goddamn.
That's true.
But it's a lot of origin story, so you get to avoid that for about half of it.
Yeah.
I just feel like with such a grounded fucking movie, you shouldn't have a budget that high. It's just...
I mean, yeah, if it was authentic to just the original anime movie.
They really should have tried to do practicals for the Major whenever they did those sequences where they were tearing off parts of her and stuff, but then it would probably get into...
R,
yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Because if practicals, like actually practically doing that will look a lot creepier, even if it's those sterile surgery scenes.
Yeah.
Like then it gets into RoboCop territory, and it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, God. Just the fact that this movie feels like this weird, sterilized, shitty hybrid, or just, not shitty, really bland hybrid of...
Shitty.
Yeah, of Ghost in the Shell and fucking RoboCop. Two of my favorite movies. Two movies that are extremely violent and extremely intelligent in this PG-13 lowbrow fucking movie that really wants to be smarter than it really is.
You know what would have fixed everything?
Mm-hmm.
If at the end, Aramaki's like, Major, I'm waiting for your approval. And then she looks at the camera and she goes, I'd buy that for $1. Thanks for listening to this episode of WeeaBoots. Go check out our video game coverage on Gigaboots.com or on YouTube, and consider becoming a patron. Jay is Hail Xeon on YouTube, and our theme song is Android by Luckhash. Go check out more music by Luckhash at www.luckhash.com.
Somersault!
Gigaboots has been brought to you by the remarkable generosity of Nicholas Cameron and Vincent Pover.
And Cywolf.
Go to patreon.com/gigaboots and support Gigaboots today.